the Cheshire Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission. Start the Pledge of Allegiance. We say the Pledge of Allegiance on our own. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you read the roll call, please?
Yes, Chairman Kurtz,
Here.
Dr. Dimick,
Present.
Mr. Brzezowski,
Yeah, I'm here.
Mr. McPhee, Mr. Manorbach, and myself.
We have a quorum, barely. We're all set to go. The first on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the December 1st meeting. Are there any motions?
I move to approve the minutes as amended by Dr. Dimick.
Moved by Ms. Dunn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brzezowski. Is that who that was?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Passed unanimously by those commission members present. Next item is election of officers.
Mr. Chairman, there are only 4 members at the meeting tonight, so it is suggested that the commission table this until the next meeting when there can be a full complement of commission members in attendance.
I think the proper wording is to defer it to the next meeting.
Okay, I accept that. Defer instead of tabled.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable? Anybody have any comments?
Acceptable.
No objection.
Yes. No objection.
Which
Okay.
does raise another point. When are we going to try for a 7th member?
I think they've been trying. No one's willing. I think the brilliant commission members we have dazzled everybody. They're afraid to come and speak their minds.
Mr. Chairman, it's Rob Orris. If you don't mind, I can try to address that.
Oh, please.
That'd be great.
Good evening, everyone, and happy New Year. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. It's my understanding that there is a name being brought forth to the council, hopefully for our next meeting, which would address that question that you just raised.
Thank you.
Perfect. We'll look forward to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
All
you.
right.
Okay, meanwhile, we'll consider our election of officers deferred. Communications, Suzanne?
No communications,
Oh, wonderful. Inspection reports.
no written inspections. Staff
Staff
inspection.
inspection.
Yes, there was a CO inspection for Whole Foods. Their project is complete and the conservation easement area has been permanently marked, which was required during the approval. Additionally, there was a complaint on Ginny Hill Road, which was determined to not be a wetlands complaint. And so that is it for staff inspections.
Oh, thank you. Enforcement actions. First one is the violation and cease and desist order on 720 Yalesville Road. Mr. Heber Avarenga.
Yes, and the commission issued a corrective order for this address. And there is a new application that is submitted and on the agenda tonight under new business. So this item under enforcement action is really just a placeholder so that the commission has it in the forefront of their agenda that there is a corrective order which does have specific time frames for planting, which will take place next spring.
But everything has been planned and you've approved of what the people intend to do?
The silt fence has been installed and the site is more stable than it had been previously. So yes, it's moving in that in the
So we
correct
can go
direction.
forward with their application then,
Yes,
when it comes up. Okay, thank you.
yes.
Violation of cease and desist order on 152 Talmadge Road.
Yes, and Mr. Chairman, the engineer that was hired by the property owner at 152 Talmadge did supply a letter today, and the engineer is on the call. I did forward a copy of that email to commission members. I don't know if commission members have had a chance to review it, but Mr. McAvoy is here on the call, and so he can speak to it.
Ryan.
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
McAvoy,
Chairman.
you're up. There you are.
For the record, my name is Ryan McAvoy of my Lonomic Broom, now SLR Consulting, as of yesterday. So I'm here on behalf of the property owner at 152 Talmadge Road. And at their request, and in discussion with Suzanne, as at least an initial step, I did evaluate the placement of the construction debris. There's a couple piles of brick and concrete adjacent to the pond on the property, and some concrete and stone is placed along the banks of the pond. Additionally, the fence was installed along the edge of the pond nearest to Talmadge Road. So those are the three items that are, or some of the items that have gone on, I think, that are the source of the current actions by the commission. It's my opinion, reviewing that the activities that have occurred don't interrupt or obstruct the normal flow of water through the pond, in particular the fence, even though it's obviously installed without a permit, that the fence post that was put into the channel that the pond outlets to the catch basin Talmadge Road does not represent a obstruction of flow. The pond discharges into a relatively small diameter pipe into the street, which represents really the restriction flow for the pond, not the channel itself. So in short, I would say that the activities that have occurred do not, at least for the moment, restrict or obstruct the ability for the pond to function. And if the commission were willing to entertain an application, the applicant is willing to submit an application for activities that have occurred and for what ultimately they want to do along the edge of the pond. Obviously, what's gone on has been done without a permit, so we respect the decision of the commission if it is preferred that be taken out, but it doesn't appear, at least based on what they've done, that there's any imminent drainage issues.
That's good news. No harm, no foul.
We'll see about that.
Has he indicated willingness to have you work out a plan for him so he can do the next step according to Hoyle?
That is part of the agreement that we have, is that, provided that that was something the commission wanted to entertain, then we would proceed to putting together a plan, evaluate the wetlands, the impact, et cetera. So,
Mr. Chairman, I think we have a situation where I would like to see the proposal, but I wonder if we could see it preliminarily before it's filed formally, so we could make some kind of a decision whether we would want to entertain it as a solution or whether we want some kind of remedial action before we entertain the application. I say that partly because once it's filed formally, we are fixed with time deadlines and everything else to act on it. But if we could look at it, an informal proposal, it might give us a chance to give the applicant some guidance as to whether something like that might be acceptable and to modify it before making a formal application. We have done this in the past, but it's been a long time since we've acted in that fashion.
I personally wouldn't have any problem with that. I just, what I keep going back to is the significance of the engineer's involvement. And that would be good for him as well as us and the applicant if they did it. I just want the applicant to understand why we're doing things that way. It's basically to help him.
Yeah.
And all we want him to do is follow the rules.
Is the applicant on the call?
I don't see them on my Brady Bunch
Okay.
gallery.
Okay.
But if that's the desire, that we at least put together a preliminary site plan that outlines their intentions, at least on paper, we can certainly go down that path and then provide that to you and have an informal discussion.
Yeah, I just think it'd be better if it might be better for both the applicant and for us not to make a commitment until we see some idea of where the applicant wants to go, rather than waiting for a formal application and immediately saying, no, that's no good, and make you go back to the drawing board.
Now, Mr. Chairman, because we are under the enforcement action section of the agenda, it may be advisable to have a motion to that effect, asking the property owner to come up with this plan for the commission to evaluate before moving forward. So then that way it's documented and clear, so that it's not just an open-ended type of request.
Yeah, that's just better wording of what I was intending to say anyway. So if we could make that a formal motion, according to the words the staff just said.
Fine by me.
So that's
have all
moved by
that
you,
down?
Charles?
Yeah,
Okay.
I second the motion.
Moved by Dr. Dimick and seconded by Ms. Dunn. Any discussion on the motion? I have one little technicality. Is this assume that we are removing the cease and desist part of the order? Or we just
No,
keep
Mr.
it on
Chairman,
there for discussion?
Mr. Chairman, that would remain in place until the commission was satisfied, either with issuing a permit or a corrective order. So that will remain in effect until this matter is wrapped up.
Okay, fine by me. Are there any other comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously by those commission members present.
All right, we'll be back.
Okay,
You leaving already?
thank you, Ryan.
Have
Short
a
and
good
sweet.
one.
Good night.
Thank you.
Aye.
Unfinished business. We have the permit application of Nozzle Properties on South Main Street. And we have information, right?
Yes, there is a site plan that has been submitted.
Is there anybody here representing the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Darren Overton from SLR Consulting on behalf of the applicant.
Okay. What's your plan?
So this property is located at 944 South Main Street. It's the former location of the China Buffet restaurant. That prior structure has been demolished, and the existing infrastructure still remains out there. The lot itself is 2,500 square feet, or just over a half an acre. It's located in a C3 zone. Most of you are probably familiar with the site, but it's abutted to the north by the Rite Aid and existing commercial retail plaza associated with it. Eversource maintains a power substation south of this property. On the east side is the Mill River, and on the opposite side of the river is the town's sewage pump station. And then west is Route 10 and existing retail and commercial development on the opposite side of Route 10.
didn't we have another application for this site after a few years ago?
Yes, Mr. Chair, yes, Dr. Dimick, that was for Chase Bank.
Uh-huh.
But I think that was back in 2018.
What happened to that?
The project did not move forward,
Okay,
but the restaurant was demolished, which was allowed under that permit. They just did not go to the second phase of the permit, which was to construct.
Okay, we're getting some information. There's comments. I don't see any damaging comments from the town.
If you'd like, I could go over the proposed development.
And also the Mr. Sanford's report, I think, wasn't there a report submitted for this?
So yes, there are wetlands that were flagged on the eastern side of the property that are associated with the Mill River. They're essentially determined by the top of bank of the Mill River. So they're basically, it's a coincident line between what would be state and federally regulated. There was prior mapping that was done as part of the Chase Bank application, and our delineation basically confirmed the delineation that was shown previously in that. So the wetland boundaries are pretty well defined as the top of bank along the river here.
That
So-
storm drain that comes in there, I know it's taking some drainage from Route 10, but is some of that drainage coming all the way from the swamp on the other side?
That I'm not sure about. We didn't go that far with looking at the watershed, but yeah, that's a 36-inch pipe that comes off of part of the state drainage discharge associated with Route 10.
Yeah, well, there's a drainage comes off the swamp and goes under the shopping center and then heads in that general direction. And I wouldn't be surprised that that's going to be combined of Route 10 drainage and the overflow from the swamp.
So the proposed development, it basically works within the previous developed area. We don't go any further out towards the river with the edge of pavement as part of the drive-through going around the back of the building. We do utilize a little bit of upland area for the dumpster pads and back. And then our drainage discharge is proposed right next to the state discharge, which is basically identical to the way it was handled as part of the Chase Bank application. So we did show some direct impact. The state drainage system has a small riprap plunge pool that has some sediment in it. We're proposing to basically remove the riprap, clean out the sediment, and then reform that plunge pool and replace the riprap, which will cover both the state discharge and our discharge point.
Anyone else?
Just going back to the report about the wetlands, I didn't understand something on the first page where it said only federal wetlands were delineated on the property. Can you just address that?
Yeah, so Suzanne did bring that to our attention today, and I did talk with Matt Sanford, our soil scientist, and the wording was meant to say that the state and federal line are coincident. The language that was used was not written very well. Matt has clarified that, and he issued a revised report with clarification, a modification of that last sentence to clarify.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, there's a question in terms of the it's a state regulated water course. The wetland soils are not easily classified there, although he's mentioned something about some Seco silt, but there's so much junk of other such mixed into the wetland soil there, that might be a problem.
Yeah, it's mostly alluvium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Or we're ready to go.
One thing I would like to bring up, this is in the public water supply watershed for Regional Water Authority. So we did notify the Regional Water Authority as well as DPH. As part of the notification of Regional Water Authority, we did get some review comments, and we have drafted some responses, and I did talk to Ron Walters at Regional Water Authority, and we're looking to implement some green infrastructure. Even though this plan, the stormwater management, was designed with catch basins with sumps and a hydrodynamic separator, very similar to what was proposed and approved for Chase Bank, they would like to see some green infrastructure. And while there isn't much room on this property, we did identify an area in the southwest corner where there's some disturbed upland area now. And we're going to look to sheet flow some surface runoff through a small rain garden in that southeast corner. Actually, Suzanne just put up the rendering. So we show some landscaping back there.
Can you use the cursor or is that not possible? Thank you.
So down in the southeast corner, the lower right-hand corner of the page, Suzanne. Yeah, right in there. So between the wetland line and the proposed edge of pavement there, there's upland green space. We're going to put a shallow rain garden in there. We're going to open up the curb, have a slotted curb, and allow the pavement to sheet flow into there, and then just have a riprap overflow into the river. So that way we're going to have some filtering and some opportunity for infiltration from about half of the paved surface on the site.
Okay.
There's no underground fuel tanks in this project, are there?
No. The building will be served by natural gas. There won't even be a buried grease trap. It's going to be utilized an internal grease trap.
Mr. Chairman, that answers most of my questions. I suggest that if everyone else is agreeable, we pass it on to staff to write favorable or write a motion for approval for the next meeting.
We all agree on that? Is there any comments? Sounds good to me. Are we ready to leave this in Suzanne's hands and go to the next?
Thank you. Appreciate the commission's
Okay.
time tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. Okay, next we have 2 and 3 are a permit application for 2 different lots on Reservoir Road. Robert Orris, do we consider them together or do you want to do one at a time?
Mr. Chairman, they are very similar, so I think that both lots can be discussed at the same time.
Sounds good. We've had the town has had a chance to look at things and Mr. Orris, would you like to explain what's going on or can Suzanne just say what the differences are between what was approved before and what you're looking for now, if any?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that opportunity. Darren Overton is here on my behalf.
Oh, okay. Darren, what would you like to say?
So what we've submitted is basically we're looking for reinstatement of the prior permit. The plans that we have submitted are the same as what were approved before as part of the subdivision of the property. It's been broken up into 2 permits because the subdivision map has been filed, so they are 2 separate lots. But the site development plan as proposed is identical to what was approved previously.
Okay, as far as I know, the town wanted to look at it and we wanted the town to look at it because we wanted to see if there's any changes over the last few years that might have required some sort of change to the application, and the engineer found nothing. Did any of us, there was an indication that some of us may have wanted to go out onto the lot itself. I know I did not. Did anybody, or did anybody that went out there want to make a comment, or are we all set?
Is this the one where we have a December 15, 2020 letter from the engineer town?
Letter?
Suzanne?
The date on the comments from the town engineer are
They're after our last meeting.
January 5th.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong thing then.
Yes, and there are 2 comments, and Darren Overton did respond to these comments today. Just in summary, the first comment is that it's recommended that a traffic rail be included on the bridge and adjacent retaining wall. And just to clarify, the January 5th comments are from Darren.
Okay.
The letter that was from the town engineer was dated December 15th. So Darren is on the call if he wanted to address his written response to the town engineer's comments of December 15th.
So sure, happy to address that. There was one comment, as Suzanne noted, about a rail along the culvert crossing. So I went back and I looked at the details on our plans, and we do show a 4-foot chain link fence on top of the head wall and end wall on either end of that cross culvert. So the lot on the in the upper right hand corner of the plan. So we believe that meets the building code requirements for fall safety. And then there's a 4-foot shoulder, and also the head wall and end wall will be elevated a little bit above grade and will basically act like a curb off of the driveway. So we believe what we show there is consistent with the building code and meets the safety requirements for fall restraint with the fence on top. There was also a comment regarding an existing curbed catch basin out on Reservoir Road, and the southern driveway, the driveways are separate. There's a swale between them, but they basically mimic each other. So it's 2 separate driveways, but they're right next to each other. The southern one actually comes right into the back of that basin as proposed. So it would have to be converted to a curbless top. They've explained to us as a preference to leave it as a curb top. So we've suggested that the southern driveway could be moved about 10 feet to the south in order to maintain that curved basin in between the 2 driveways. So those were the 2 comments that we received, and we have provided written responses for those.
I would presume, Suzanne, that when you draft language for this, you put in the usual bit about sediment erosion control inspections and reports to be filed with us, and so forth.
Yes.
I'm particularly concerned with that larger crossing, that larger culvert crossing, in terms of the security of these banks while they're doing their work.
Okay.
I'm
And
sure it
that-
can be handled. I just want to make sure that somebody's got on top of it in case anything goes wrong.
Okay, and that would be the standard language for the inspections once a week
Yeah.
or before every storm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else? Are we ready to let Suzanne do her work on this? No one else has anything to say? I think on, item number 2 and number 3, they're all set to be taken care of. Is that right, Suzanne? Do you need anything else from us?
No, I will draft the motion and have it prepared before the next meeting.
Wonderful. We can close that matter.
Again, thank you all.
Thank
for
you
your
all.
time.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you all
I
very
just,
much.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would
Go
just like to mention that our recording secretary is watching this be live streamed on YouTube, and she's having a hard time hearing some of the testimony and comments that are being made. So she asked if commission members could just be clearer and a little bit louder. Thank you.
Could she specify which commissioner she especially has trouble with?
No,
She didn't.
I can take it. Go ahead and say it.
no, she did not.
Okay. I'll turn over a new leaf with new business. Permit application of Heber Alvarenga, 720 Galesville Road, site plan. Is there anyone to represent the applicant?
I'm here to any questions you guys have.
Hello, Mr. Everenga. Yes, I did get communication from your engineer today, Steve Judas, and he indicated that he has a conflict, so he's not able to attend tonight and give a presentation. So would you like to give the presentation, or would you like to wait for the next meeting when Steve can attend and he can provide
Well,
presentation?
if I could be able to help as much as I can to see if it's something that we could try to, but because wanted to see if I could start working on it as soon as I can. But what type of questions you guys will have? Maybe I'm able to
Well, some
resolve
of them I don't think are in your area, because I have some questions about the proposed septic systems, and that really should be the engineer.
the septic system is already approved by
It's approved by
Chestercott.
Chestercott, but we still have some wetlands concerns with it. Particularly, I know it's a design system, which it has to be because of the restrictive nature of the soils where that septic system is proposed, and where a proposed reserve system, you have to have a reserve system, which is on the map, where you go if the first one doesn't work. the proposed reserve system is placed even closer to the wetlands. And since there are restrictive conditions where the regular system is going, which was approved by Chesapeake, if you ever have to use the reserve system, you're going into soils which are even worse than the ones where it's proposed. That's why I wanted to be able to ask the engineer about that set of conditions. Because, yeah, Chesapeake only worries about whether the system is going to function. We worry about if it doesn't function, what happens to the adjacent wetlands. That's why I have some concerns.
Okay, so I guess we'll wait for next month.
Okay, actually, the meeting is in 2 weeks. It's January 19th.
Oh, okay, that,
Yes, so the
That
commission
works.
meets twice a month, except in August and December. So, so this will be then up for discussion at the January 19th meeting.
all right, sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. In the meantime, we have a request for determination, item number 2, from Sean Stanziel, 500 Academy Road. Is there someone
Hello.
here to do that?
Yes, hello, Sean Stanziel, 500 Academy Road.
Wonderful. What would you like to do?
I'm requesting a reapproval of a project that I was looking to start and had approval, I think, January of 2019. Or no, July of 2019. Project just didn't get started, and I'm just requesting a reapproval of it.
Has the approvals expired?
But the
Suzanne,
request-
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it was a request for determination, and those requests are only valid for 1 year.
Okay. Now you're asking for the same thing.
Exact same thing.
On the floor then, just so we can discuss it, move to determine again that the proposed activities do not need a permit under our regulations, being an agricultural use.
I understand that, and it sounds to me like it meets the qualifications for exemption. I don't see anything in there that would violate those standards.
There's no filling of wetlands, which is the problem we had with that proposal some 4 years ago. So this one is agricultural use of regulated lands, and normally those would be permitted.
I agree with that. You think we're missing anything, Charles? It sounds fine to me.
I had no alarm bells go off on this one. No.
Anybody else have a comment or a question? So we probably need a motion for determination not being required.
I think I just made it.
Well, you did? I'm sorry. Did you make it?
Yeah, I said I put on the floor, move to determine that
Okay.
that this does not require permit and renewal of the determination.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Dr. Dimick, seconded by Mr. Brzezowski. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried by unanimously by those commission members present. Consider it done. Item
Thank you
number
very
3. You're welcome, Sean.
Thank you.
Item number 3 is a request for determination from Ball and Socket Arts, 483 West Main Street.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So this request for determination for Ball and Socket, as well as the application for Ball and Socket, so that's items number 3 and 4 under new business. They are on the agenda only to recognize that tonight is the date of receipt. So they are officially received on January 5th, 2021. Additionally, there are 2 other items. There's a request for determination and an application for re-subdivision on Marion Road by Pabco Inc. Those 2 items are also on the agenda just to be acknowledged as today, January 5th, 2021, as being the date of receipt. and not listed on the agenda and received, to be acknowledged as received at tonight's meeting is an application for the development of the north end. So that will have a receipt date of January 5th, 2021, and it will be on the agenda as new business for the January 19th meeting.
Okay, we don't need a motion for that because we don't move to accept applications anymore.
Correct.
All right, that cleaned up a lot of the work. Okay, is there any other business to come before this commission?
Yeah, I wish everyone a happy new year.
Happy New Year to
Thank you. You
And
too,
you, look
Charles.
forward to
Thank
your
you.
background, Charles.
Yeah, looks good.
Good night, everyone.
Okay,
Good
good
night.
night.
Hey.
Bye.